Are you tired of the typical movement in Garry's mod? Do you wish that you could do crazy things like this? Or maybe like this? Well, then this mod may just be the mod for you. This is the Black Ops 3 Enhanced Mobility mod, and the creator wanted to emulate the movement system from Black Ops 3 as closely as they could, and I think they did a pretty good job. I did go ahead and throw in a few other mods just to kind of really make it feel like the complete package. Of course, they are also by the same creator. We're also on this really cool skate map, which I thought was pretty fitting because we're going to be doing some pretty crazy stuff. Alright, so first we're going to go over the basics of this add-on. First things first, you can slide. All you got to do is simply be running and then tap control and you will slide. Now it's important to note, you will not keep your momentum if you cancel the slide any moment after the initial beginning. I don't know why I said initial beginning there, that didn't make any sense. But at the beginning of the slide, if you quickly jump, you can cancel it. And I think this was a technique in Black Ops 3, although I wouldn't know, I don't play Call of Duty. However, it is a pretty cool technique, and it's good for getting around the map pretty quick, I can imagine. A game like Call of Duty, of course, where speed is everything. But if you wait just a little bit too long, like right there, I'm trying to jump. The problem is, you come to a screeching halt. Okay, that was early enough. So it has to be right at the beginning of the slide. Even if you wait to the end, you'll just get up. It doesn't really do anything. So do be mindful of that. Whoa. It looks like we do have a bit of like a tilt when you move side to side, which I'm a big fan of that, of course. And obviously, we have to be using the Modern Warfare base. I know it's not technically the same exact game, but it's still Call of Duty nonetheless, and it looks pretty solid. Alright, what else can you do? Well, if you press space in midair, you'll like launch yourself. And you can do this in any direction. Now, of course, if you have more fuel, which is what that line is in the middle there, and by line I mean semicircle, you can actually kind of boost yourself up pretty high. Just don't break your ankle like I did. And yeah, you can mount some pretty decently high stuff, like, well, this for instance. You can easily get on the roof. It's like a mini jetpack, which I think is exactly what it is. Now, of course, the fun part of this is when you start to chain things together, because that's just kind of the basic stuff. And of course, we cannot forget one of the most important ones, and that is being able to wall run. Go next to a wall, run onto it, and you will mount it and climb it. And yes, you can jump from wall to wall like you saw there. Pretty cool stuff. Definitely not the best map to test it on, but nonetheless, it is really cool, and you could do some really cool stuff with this, depending on what map you decide to go with. I guess my only complaint is I wish that you could keep that mobility at the end of the slide. I wish you didn't have to actually do it at the beginning, because, well, when it comes to Garry's mod, you can kind of just jump that distance. So that slide cancel, it doesn't really do a whole lot for you, at least in Garry's mod. But hey, you know what? The creator did want to make it as close to the original as possible, so I assume that that's why that exists. So now we're going to go over some of the fun things you can do with this. You can have a ton of fun at the skate park with this mod. I think it's really cool to kind of mix things together, and you can kind of mix the wall run with the slide and get some crazy momentum like this, which can then go into another slide if I didn't break my damn legs. Alright, now we are going to go over the footstep sounds. I think this is pretty cool. I'll go ahead and shut up so you can hear how they do sound. Pretty good. In fact, I kind of want to keep this on all the time. I really do like the sounds of these footsteps. Alright, what else? We also got some explosion sound effects that are apparently from Black Ops 3. Now, apparently the sounds can change depending on where you're located and, you know, I assume the materials that you hit. That one definitely sounded different. But overall, pretty cool stuff. And I'm a big fan of this mod because it's just always active. You don't have to equip anything. If you just want some added mobility, you can totally do that. Oh, and also, you can slide backwards, which apparently was added recently. Alright, now we're going to go over some of the cool things you can do with this mod. You can easily just shoot and kill things while you're doing all these actions, so you are not limited to anything while you do it. Of course, that's kind of the whole point of this add-on. Now, I will say it's definitely a lot harder when you're actually in movement. The slide is also really quick, and you can only go into that backslide if you jump backwards. If you just run and slide, it is not going to work. You have to jump and then slide. And if you're, well, near a half pipe like this, well, then you can easily just do something like this, which is pretty cool. Now, I did think the slide would break your fall, but sadly, I don't think it does, which, you know, does kind of make sense. So do be careful with this. If you're trying to do some crazy stuff like there, I took fall damage there. Now, of course, you can turn fall damage off to completely fix that, but definitely do keep that in mind if you don't want to dabble with those different settings. Alright, now I'm going to try to go through the park here. I did spawn some combine all over the place. See if we can use this to our advantage here. Got that. Nice. I think there's one more. Yep. Oh, man. Oh, ow. It does feel pretty cool, I'm not going to lie. Uh-oh, looks like I got too close. You can easily close the distance using all these techniques, and I'm a noob at this, guys. I just started messing with this like 10 minutes ago. It is incredibly easy to pick up and understand, and really fun to kind of get going once you get pretty good at it, which I certainly am not. But there you guys have it, my friends. A really fun mod. Also, I should probably mention it does not look nearly as good in third person, but it's not meant for that. It's just meant to have fun, you know, in first person, shoot things, do whatever it is you wish, live out your Black Ops 3 fantasy if you do miss that game. But I would love to know what you guys think about these movement mods down below. Do you like them? What's your favorite? All that cool stuff. But as always, thanks for watching. Leave a like, subscribe if you want. I'll see you guys in the next video, and until then, well, farewell.